And this was a surprise? This was kind of a surprise to you. Where did you grow up?
I grew up in Connecticut.
Where in Connecticut?
Don't picture me with boat shoes, please. I grew up in Trumbull, Connecticut, which is in Fairfield County. It's the piece of Connecticut that's closest to New York. And my parents moved there because my grandparents had moved there. And it was still a relatively affordable place to buy a house, far enough away from New York, a lot of commuting people to New York City, but far enough away to be able to afford a house as a recently immigrated guy and a woman working. So yeah, it was, I don't know if you're familiar with Bridgeport, Connecticut, but it has a lot of similar problems in terms of public housing, in terms of food deserts, those sort of things. So they were the neighboring town. So it wasn't like, I don't know, Stepford Wives, Connecticut.
Right. I see what you're saying. And what was your well, tell me about your parents and your upbringing.
Sure. Mm-hmm. So my dad immigrated here when he was 28, and he had already gotten his college degree back in the USSR, but he actually studied and went to school at night and got his master's, and he finished when I was a little girl, and I think I remember his graduation, which is cute. And my mom went to school in New York City and did design, and used to halftime between Chicago and New York was very, I hesitate to say jet setter sort of woman, but she also was Ukrainian, and so that's how they connected. And he worked really hard and worked his way up from being a non-English speaking guy to moving up the ladder and being able to earn more. But I remember, I don't know, we didn't have cable, we didn't have air conditioning. I remember frugality was a big part of growing up, like, do you really need that light on sort of thing. And they were penny pinchers and savers and really careful about that sort of stuff. We used to use a sheet hung from the ceiling to like trap the cool air. Are you familiar with what I'm talking about? Is this just this might be like an Eastern European like joke they play on children or something, but I believed it and I thought it worked. But that was air conditioning to me for a very long time. So
I didn't have air conditioning when we were growing up
okay.
either, but I lived in Pennsylvania, so it was farther north. It wasn't like it was in here.
Yeah.
And what we just did in the summertime was we kept the windows open at night, and then in the morning closed the windows.
You close the windows.
Exactly.
Yeah.